Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. Politics today. Let's look at the situation in Edo State because it's gotten so that it's actually worthy of mention. There are dramatic aspects to it, all of which are pointing towards the fact that, oh dear, is all well in the state of Denmark, but now it's in this case, in the state of Edo. No, never mind my nonsensical quoting of Hamlet or partial quoting of Hamlet. Okay, guys who, actually have a great insight into what's going on in Edo are our guests this morning, and that will help us understand. As you know, one of the more dramatic things that we heard and that is reported in the papers is that the deputy governor stormed away from a meeting that was put together to celebrate the Diamond Jubilee of, the ultimate creation of Edo State and Delta States. So he stormed out of that venue, alleging that the governor, it must have been his interpretation, was bent on rubbishing him. He wouldn't let his people come in. We also hear that the governor has fired the assistants, all the assistants of the deputy governor, Mr. Philip Shuaibu. So what exactly is going on? Where are we? Because the governor, of course, has denied that he has any such intention as is being alleged. We're in the studio here. Honorable Kehinde Odeneye, former member of the House of Representatives, is the first of our guests. Honorable, you're very welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
Thank you very much. And we also have another Honorable Kazim Afegwa, former commissioner in Edo State for Information and Media Consultant, member of APC, and, until it was dissolved, the Presidential Campaign Council. Good morning to you, Kazim Afegwa.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the audience this morning.
Indeed. Good morning. Let me start from your side because even though both gentlemen are knowledgeable, I want to take it from Kazim's point of view. The deputy governor, which seems to be the key to the rambunctiousness, if that is the word, going on in Edo State, he says that people have it in for him and that he's not going to, he's not going to go down without a fight. Not that he ever said that, but his actions are implying that. I wonder how you see it, because you probably have a bird's eye view of this whole situation, I hope. So what exactly is going on, seeing as the governor, and by the way, it needs to be said that Mr. Shuaibu has taken both the State Assembly and other parties, I think even the executive, he's taken them all to court to preempt what he thinks of as a scheme to, boot him out of ratings in Edo State. So, Kazim, could you give us an overview of the way you see it? What exactly is going on in Edo State for these serious charges within the same executive family to be flying all over the place?
Well, thank you very much, Yori, and good to have me here. I'm happy that you are giving me a platform to speak on this lingering imbroglio in Edo State. First of all, I will say without any out of contradiction that the law of karma is playing out in Edo State. You remember that in the last 4 years, before this new dispensation, elected members of House of Assembly, 14 of them were denied inauguration at the State Assembly simply because Philip Shuaibu and the governor were trying to play the role of think gods. And those persons, 14 of them, who were validly elected, did not have the opportunity to serve their constituents for 4 good years. Just like having a governor elected or a House of Rep member or senator and refuse swearing them in. That is how callous and wicked the executive arm of government in Edo has become. Now, I think they have come to their apogee. because elections are due next year, aspirants are coming out, and the deputy governor suddenly remembers that he will be contesting election. And so, expectedly, he will want the buy-in of his governor. The governor is not giving a voice. He's not lending him his ears. And so, there are frictions here and there. The composition of the present House of Assembly did not go without its own internal frictions, but at the end of the day, they got a speaker who is answerable to the governor. The deputy governor has 3 members in the House of Assembly who are supporting and pro his own political persuasion. And so they just felt he wants to be his own man this time around, and he wants to curry favor from the undiscerning minds. That won't happen. Because if you trace their antecedent in the last six and a half years, so to speak, they have brought Edo, to the news every now and then for the wrong reasons. At some point, he rode on Okada, went to the University of Iyamo, Edo University at Iyamo, the village of Oshomole at some point, almost prevented Oshomole from attending a convocation ceremony. That one became another issue. He went on TV, said Oshomole was suffering from psychiatric affliction. And so many other things they said. They said, Oshomole wants them to be sharing the state money. They say, both the governor, both the deputy. So if they are now fighting themselves, it is good music to my ears. And I so much love it, I want them to fight themselves the more so that a new lease of life will sprout from this whole contestation in 2024.
Okay. Now, just before I go, since this is the first, tranche of our conversation, as you said, the governorship elections coming up next year in Edo State. I mean, you, personally, I would look at you as a power broker in Edo State. So let me just ask up front here, are you interested in that office when the time comes and it is actually open?
I'm very much interested. I said it in my last appearance on your television that some of us are interested to come and breathe new life, fresh air into a seemingly and apparently polluted political environment as a result of the frictions between the number 1 and number 2 citizens of the state. They are behaving like children. They need to grow up. They need to mature in the political evolution of the state. And so for some of us, we don't like it when people call us and say, what is happening in your state? What is happening in your state? If they are not talking about flooding, they are talking about bad rules, federal government, state government, altercations and all of that. The government is not able to perform. If the government were to be performing, Yori, and people are seeing the performance, and you can speak to them, then we'll breathe a lease of new life. But for God's sake, governance is suffering, politics is suffering, so they can't even aggregate the two together and get the right rhythms that will propel individual and collective enterprise in the state. And then you now begin to ask yourself the question: what's the problem? You are attacking the federal government on the one hand, you are collecting palliative on the other hand, and we are not seeing the palliative in the state, and yet you keep telling us that the federal government is not doing well, is putting the country on a dangerous pedestal. So for me, I think there's too much of pretense in Edo State, too much of leadership pretense. And when you cannot speak to the issue, then you will be in the news for the wrong reasons. Whether you like it or not, Obaseki has not done well in terms of performance. I can say this without any fear of contradiction. They can engage me, we'll speak to the issues in the health sector, in the education sector, in the infrastructure and all of that. Then Philip Shuaibu, who is supposed to be his deputy, has suddenly been overtaken by his own ambition. There's nothing wrong about ambition, but of course, the people must enjoy some level of leadership stability, some level of stable polity for them to also appreciate the kind of leadership that we have in the state. But this time, these guys are just all over the place. You can imagine the disgrace accorded the deputy governor. I don't subscribe to that, even though I want them to continue fighting. because it's all about the office, not the persons. You know, you are stopping his aides from coming in, you are stopping his media, then the following day you disband his media crew and all of that. All those things are just pettiness. And that is the hallmark of Godwin Obaseki. He's so petty, he picks on little issues and wants to dig them deep down the mold. So for me, they should give us a breather, kind of, because we need a stable polity for us to drive governance in the state. And I'm always almost thinking that the election should be this year so that we can say good riddance to bad rubbish in the state. Yeah, that's the truth.
Okay, hold your horses. Thank you very much, Kazim. At least full disclosure, we got that out of the way. Of course, please, you will understand. I wasn't ignoring you in any way, shape, or form, but I wanted to get it clear from the Honorable Kehinde Odene. Okay, give me your take on what's going on there. Because these are former family members all, and certainly it is the way it now is.
Yeah, good morning once again. What is happening in Edo State is not unexpected. And it will only be news to probably maybe some people that are not very familiar with the occurrences, either presently or before now. And there's an adage in Yoruba land that when you dig a hole, that your enemy will enter, you have to be careful so that you do not enter there yourself. And that is exactly what is happening in Edo State. And I'm happy that is happening. As Kazim has rightly put it.
That's the second person who is very happy at the news they have in Edo State there.
How will APC not have a very good field day if this is not happening to them? Before now, if you look at the second term election of Obaseki and Shuaibu, you realize that they actually rode on, sentiments about Oshiomhole not wanting to give ticket and those sort of things. And meanwhile, we also have to be very sensitive here. I was expecting this to happen because even after Obaseki won election, with the assistance of former Governor Wike, eventually what happened between Governor Wike and Obaseki? Governor Wike single-handedly handed over tickets to Shuaibu and Obaseki. But eventually what happened to them? They fought. So this that is happening is not news. It's not even new. It's well expected and it's happening at the right time. So, you see, as Kazim rightly put it, it's so unfortunate because if we are talking about this disgrace melted on the deputy governor, yes, if you look at the personality, good.
And if you look at
it
as an isolated event.
If you look at it as an isolated event and as office, it's very disgraceful. Very disgraceful, and I wasn't expecting the governor to have descended so low. There are so many ways you can deal with your deputy governor.
Maybe since what you both are describing effectively is quote-unquote war, and they say all is fair in love and war.
There's nothing fair in this again. This is a full-blown war. They have initially, the deputy governor was initially pretending that there was no problem. If you I listened to a news yesterday, maybe on Arise, and they brought the commissioner for information there. And he claimed that because he was trying to describe why the DSS stopped the deputy governor from greeting the governor at their event that they had in the government house. And he said, why will that the deputy governor knows about protocol? And he was out of the state for some time. And he just came in. He knew he has a governor. He did not take it upon himself to even come and say, oh, I was back to the state. And he now took opportunity of that event to come. When he got into the place, he greeted virtually everybody that very fortunately they have provided his seat because they knew he could spring up surprises, which to them was not really a surprise. He came in there, he greeted virtually everybody. He did not greet the governor. That was what the commissioner was saying. That at a later time, he now stood up to come and greet the governor. Ordinarily, if the governor is not, which to me is good, is not plotting a coup for themselves and to give a very good avenue for APC to come in, they need not come to the cameras, to the public, and be displaying what they have displayed so far. I wouldn't want to use any abusive word, but they have actually displayed immaturity. Both of them have not been able to manage their crisis themselves, but it is good. And thank God, listen to what Oshomole said. He said, even if Shuaibu, that the line Shuaibu is now running here and there, and there are some people that are coming to come and beg for him to come to APC. APC is not an IDP camp. And so, they won't take him, which is good. Because, you see, when they were doing it during the second term election period, they were happy. They were enjoying it. And a lot of people, because of sentiment, and because of this idea that, Oshomole being the godfather did not want them to win and all sort of things, Shuaibu forgot where he was coming from. In 2015, Oshomole single-handedly handed over the ticket of APC House of Representatives to Shuaibu. And he was calling him his political father, his political mentor. That was the way he was referring to Oshomole. But suddenly, because of one issue or the other, that person has suddenly became an enemy to you. And somebody that had moved you to, even in their old labor days, that you are recognizing as your father, now suddenly turned to an enemy of progress. So what is happening there is very good for APC, but unfortunately it's not good for the state, because this is what they will be doing until election comes. And revenue and everything that is accruing to the state would not be well spent the way these guys are portraying themselves.
Kazim, let me come back to you, because he landed on the question I was going to ask, which is your take on all of this as it regards the good people of Edo State. Yes, the political class have their issues, but they are interested in some of the things you spoke about last time you were speaking about what governance is and what the people of Edo State deserve. How will they be seeing this? Because as we're a democracy anyway, so the time will come in 2014 when they sorry, I beg your pardon, 2024, when they will actually cast their vote. So it's up to the people, actually.
Well, thank you, Yori. You see, what is at play, in the state is quite unfortunate. And it is the flourish of pathological ingrates who are confronted with the allure of power and the crazy aphrodisiac of power and do not know how to manage it. You see, I keep telling people, you have to be grateful at all times to your benefactors, no matter how little the effort they put in place to help you climb the ladder of power for you to deliver governance to the people that have elected you. Now, these two persons, the first two citizens of Edo, have shown, remarkably so, that they are being tormented by their own hearts because of that function of ingratitude that is so prevalent in them. And I say this with all due sense of responsibility, because if a state government can twist a process to deny 14 members who were validly elected by their constituents from participating in lawmaking process in the state, and prefer to deal with the state with just 10 members, a minority, then you want me to sympathize with you because your head is now being put on the guillotine. I will say no, I would rather clap. If the two of them's head can be chopped off, fine for them politically. You see, you cannot, Edo people are very enlightened people. Edo people are so civilized. All over the world, they are represented in virtually every state of the world. And they are so exposed that when they see things like this happening, they get worried. Even presently, the state government is trying to balkanize the Benin Kingdom by creating kingdoms in other local governments in Edo South, which has never been. And it tells us that, we are trying to implement an edict of 1979. Bunkum. You see, you cannot decide on your own free will to tamper with the traditions, the customs, the morals, and the values of a people that have survived over 700 years of even Western invasion. And now you want to invade them in this new dispensation. Edo State, it is either today one crisis, tomorrow another crisis. It's been like that in the last 6.5 years. It is just now that the two of them who are the chief protagonists are now, at each other's neck. So we are now seeing it from the other perspective. But when they started fighting Oshomole, don't forget that 12 members of Oshomole's ESCO in the world wrote a letter and said they were suspending Oshomole, which the APC apparatchik, as it were then, had to latch onto to remove Oshomole from office as national chairman. They were clapping, they were celebrating. Persons who were elected, who were appointed by President Buhari to positions in NDDC and other places, the same state government went to court to quash them and remove them from positions. So they have not brought benefit to the state in terms of benefit. And in terms of performance, they have been colossal. So when you see a scenario such as that, it's just a theory of contradiction. One, the president, the governor of the state, and the deputy, they are now at each other's neck. And so in such a scenario, a new lease of life will sprout at the appropriate time next year if the two of them are not able to be impeached. Because if you ask me my honest opinion, I would rather the two of them leave the stage for a breath of fresh air so that we can move on and put Edo on the right pedestal that it belongs. Anybody you meet today, everybody you confront, they'll say, what is happening in Edo State? What is every day? Even this morning before I got to your studio here, I've gotten 3 phone calls. They were asking me, Afebua, why do people just allow things to fester in this manner? I said, we have tried before to intervene, but they never listen to us because English have their own character indices. And so there's nothing much you can do to alter a man who is displaying habit. Habit, you garner habit one day, but it takes you several years to overcome it. And so for Philip Shuaibu, well, I say good for him, because when he was calling Oshomole manners of names and showing disrespect for a man who has been there for him, who has been his benefactor from this university days up to now, then time will come when God also will be in the life of Oshomole. That's why last week I wrote a piece. I said, Oshomole's gods are alive. And so we are seeing it so obviously, where people are trying to whip up sentiments and trying to, no, I'm not going to whip up any sentiments. The sentiments I will whip up will be that the two of them should leave the stage in Edo so that we can have a breath of fresh air. We really need a stable polity to deliver on governance. Our schools are not sharing news in terms of what obtains in them. I've told you the last time, my community of Okbula, 4 secondary schools right in that community, none has 5 teachers, none. And I say this with all due sense of responsibility. None of them. The one that is so dominant is having 4 teachers. The others are having 3 teachers. Secondary school from GSS 1 to SS3. You can imagine what kind of, and then the state government will come around and tell you that, oh, we are Edo best. Collecting grants from World Bank, collecting grants from World Health Organization, building nothing. We are not seeing the hospitals. The one that Oshomole built, it became a ding-dong affair for them to even put into use. It became a quarrelsome engagement. What is the problem, Yori? Right. What exactly is the problem? Is it about power? Is it about money? Insecurity dominates Edo State. Bad roads everywhere. And you can't fix all of this. And then you want to tell me that, oh, you are the governor of the state, you want to show muzzle because somebody has shown interest to run governorship. The two of them, Philip can run election, no problem. He will fail woefully. That is not in doubt. Allow him to continue to run. But the two of them have not shown maturity. They have not shown etiquette. They have not shown leadership propriety so far.
1 second, please. Now, Kende, what do you think? You see, we have seen, even in the recent, assemblage of men and women in the APC presidential campaign council. Look, there were people there who, to us non-politicians would have said that, this one is there. So what I'm alluding to here is that there seems to be, there's a sense in which some might say the president has a very large, large heart, and that he's such a strategist that those who, ordinary people, that is non-politically experienced people, will say, no, don't touch that one with a 10-foot pole. You find that he's not disagreeable to their coming into the fold and working for the fold. Is there any such opportunity for both the first the first two citizens of Edo State in this situation that they have, especially on that, in the case of Shuaibu, who I understand, might be looking for a way to come back to his original home, the APC.
Yeah, in politics, we politicians will always say there's no permanent friend, no permanent enemy in politics. And that's exactly what is showing up in Edo State. You see, and that is why we have to be a bit careful, even the way we behave at times, especially public officers. Yesterday, I watched a video by former President Jonathan.
Yes.
And I was shocked to hear some of the things he said.
Yes.
Meaning that he experienced precisely what he said.
He was talking about power.
Power.
And the transition.
Yes.
And
by the time you are there, if you are not careful, you will be blindfolded by the power that is with you. And if you are not careful too, you will start misbehaving.
Yes.
And that's exactly what has happened.
And the former president, President Jonathan, in that video, as I recall, was even saying that, look, nowadays, politicians have to be aware of civil society.
Yes.
In short, the people, organized people.
The people are very much sensitive now. Gone are the days when people will fold their hands and say, we care less. Let them do it the way they want. Politicians know how to do it. Now, everybody is now very much aware of the fact that if we fold our hands, politicians will ruin their lives. So the best thing is to take the politicians by the horn and tell them that, oh, this is not the way we want to be ruled. This is the way we want to be governed. I'm very sure that if Shuaibu wants to come back to his godfather, he might allow him after so much persuasion. I know he would forgive him because
he's a politician himself.
He's a politician himself. So he will be forgiven. The only thing I cannot assure you is that he cannot be given ticket in APC.
Ah, okay.
He cannot.